Hello and welcome to Derm Young's The Untold Story of Skincare. I'm Nancy Griffin with Contento Marketing, and I'm pleased to be here today to moderate this 6-part series where we interview experts on skincare topics of interest. If you like this webinar, please share it on your social media and subscribe to Derm Young's YouTube channel. If you have any questions about this topic or any specific questions for our panelists, please email customer_service@dermyoung.com. Today's topic is self-care options for rosacea. Our panelists are Veronica Adams, who's a licensed esthetician and also a rosacea sufferer. So that's a great dual opinion. We also have Dr. Serena Almaraya, and Serena is the board-certified dermatologist and assistant professor of the dermatology department at Massachusetts General Hospital, which is the teaching hospital for Harvard Medical School. And also, Dr. Almaraya is the clinical advisor to Derm Young. And then finally, we have Dr. Yang Brooks, who's the founder and CEO of Derm Young. Dr. Brooks is a skin biologist and former faculty of the dermatology department, along with Dr. Almaraya at Mass General Hospital, Harvard Medical School. So we're going to begin by asking Veronica about her experience as both an esthetician and a sufferer of rosacea. If she could just tell us a little bit about rosacea, both from a technical standpoint and a personal standpoint.
Sure. I've been, what inspired me to become an esthetician is having had very challenging skin, and from my 20s, my mid-20s, and now I'm in my mid-50s, I've been always struggling with my skin. What's inspired me to become an esthetician, and I tried a lot of different topical medications, oral medication, work with a dermatologist, but wanted to go more with things that are natural because some of the imbalances, and when you need medication, of course you need it, but I didn't want to be dependent on it. So I wanted to search for a line that really helped to support the skin without having to compromise the body in different ways. So that's been my quest, and there are things that have helped along the way. And when we got to meet Dr. Brooks, I really wanted to work with a line. I'm always looking for something state of the art, something that could help. And I decided to, when she gave us a product to try, the starter kit, it really made a difference, and that's all I used. And it changed my skin, and I was really excited about it. And up until, with everything that's been going on with COVID and mask wearing and stress, all those things really can exacerbate rosacea because of the sensitivity and so forth. And I can't say enough about it. It's really changed my skin. So rosacea, I'm not an expert compared to the panel here. As an esthetician, I've been in the business for 26 years, but I've seen a lot of different types of skin, and I've recommended the line to a lot of people that I thought would really make a difference. And I know, speaking for myself, when you see something that really works, you have hope. But when you really work with something that really does work, it's a game changer. And the people that I've recommended it to have also agreed with me. I have a twin sister, and I was telling her about the line as well. So I've given her some products to try. And being an identical twin, you wonder with different skin issues and just health issues in general, if it is genetically or if it's environmental, and maybe it's a combination of both. But we both have had challenging skin, I have to say, and it's been amazing working with this line. So I'm a real proponent believer of the line. I don't know what else to say.
Well, that's really great. And of course, we have our medical doctors from Harvard Medical School here that can definitely take that side of it. But it seems that the typical spa client, which would be middle-aged women, that fair-skinned middle-aged women tend to be victims of rosacea. And so I'm going to ask Dr. Almaraya if she can tell us a little bit about why that is, what causes rosacea, and tell us some juicy medical facts.
Sure. So First, Veronica, thank you for being here. It's always helpful to hear an individual's own experience with things, but also just with your rosacea, itself. I can give you an overview of rosacea. Rosacea is it's a pretty common skin condition. As Nancy pointed out, it is more common. We see it slightly more commonly in patients with fair skin, women and men, and it can manifest in multiple different ways. It's the way I like to view rosacea is generally as a sensitivity. So normal factors like sun, heat, stress, even certain dietary things like if you drink wine or you eat certain foods, spicy foods, can make your skin feel more sensitive. It can become red, it can flush, you can feel warm. It can cause little bumps, almost like acne-like lesions, so almost pimples. It can actually resemble acne sometimes. People think they may have, adult onset acne in some cases. It can also manifest as even just a burning sensation or a flushing sensation. And then there are other more progressive forms where the skin actually thickens a little bit. The texture of your skin changes in addition to seeing broken blood vessels and those other symptoms of acne-like lesions and redness. So it can really be a large and wide spectrum of conditions. And it all falls under this, this one rubric of rosacea. As Veronica had alluded to, there are many different treatments for it, which I think we'll get to later. But, most people at some point with rosacea really do feel that, that they wish they could do something to control it. In terms of the genetics, we really don't know what causes rosacea. We have a better handle on what exacerbates rosacea, and but why it develops in the first place, we don't know. One theory as to why lighter skinned people are frequently more affected is one, it's actually easier to see, because I have many darker skinned patients who actually have rosacea, but they don't come to the same conclusion initially, but also because fair skin tends to bear the brunt of UV radiation. A little bit more, you're more exposed to the sun because you don't have, darker skin tones protecting you from the sun, the UV radiation. And so because of that, lighter skin tones are more likely to react. And because the sun is such a common aggravator, I think that's one of the reasons why we say it's more common in lighter skin types. And then, for women in general, again, men and women can have this, but I do believe there's also often a hormonal component. So, if you're at certain points of your menstrual cycle, or when you're pregnant, or actually menopausal or postmenopausal, your rosacea can actually fluctuate. And so those are all factors that go into fueling rosacea.
Now, Dr. Almaraya, of course, you're seeing people wearing PPE. I understand that the dermatologists in your department at Mass General are working on COVID-19 patients wearing, of course, all the PPE all the time. Are you finding rosacea exacerbated as a result?
So absolutely. We are seeing that in the midst of all the mask wearing, whether it's by, professionals wearing the mask for long periods of time, or even just, everybody in the community now having to adapt to this new normal of wearing masks anytime you're outside of the home or around other individuals. Certainly the moisture, the heat retention can irritate your skin barrier. And that is absolutely something that provokes rosacea. So you're getting the benefit potentially of something blocking the sun, like being a physical barrier in front of your face, but the heat is also a known trigger. So we are seeing more people with, again, those acne-like lesions, those small bumps, some inflammation that can just be really a challenge to control.
So Dr. Brooks, from your perspective as a skin scientist, tell us from your perspective about rosacea.
Yeah, sure. As Serena mentioned earlier, rosacea is truly a multifactorial skin disorder. Even though we are not sure what exactly caused this skin condition, numerous studies have suggested two prominent contributing factors to this process. And one is abnormality in your immune system. And the second is the neurovascular dysfunction. I mean, the immune system contribution is very easy to understand because the redness, the flushing, or indicate inflammation going on in your skin. As all of us probably knows, that chronic inflammation really does damage your skin. It will impair your skin barrier, make it leaky, make you more sensitive, make you dry, and make your skin more prone to infection and inflammation. And also the chronic inflammation can damage your dermal supporting material like the collagen, elastin, and other substances. So just like many other inflammatory skin diseases, rosacea has that component. But unlike other inflammatory skin diseases like psoriasis or eczema, rosacea actually has a very distinctive molecular profile. So besides all this bad part, it also, the cytokines in rosacea can damage your vascular structure. So to cause the remodel of your vasculature. And that's why people see persistent redness, that represent a dilated blood vessel that cannot constrict back. So that's a very prominent part. And the second reason, the neurovascular dysregulation, Serena mentioned the heat, the fluctuation in the temperature, that's a neurosensory function. That goes wrong. That's why people will flush when it's so hot, and then the rosacea customer. And also the stress, that's another neuron part. A lot of people, I have seen a lot of people develop, all of a sudden has the rosacea because of this stress during the pandemic. So that's another very big part. And there are studies showing people with neurodegenerative diseases are more likely to have rosacea or have more severe rosacea compared to normal people. And also studies showing like the bacteria and the mites on your skin surface may contribute to the rosacea, and also the bacteria in the digestive tract can contribute to rosacea, and that's why people have like a rosacea specific diet and stuff like that. So it's really multifactorial process, and we are still trying to find out the exact cause of this skin disorder.
And of course, just from hearing you talk about this from a scientific standpoint, the combination of stress from this pandemic, along with the wearing a mask, that we're probably seeing a whole new generation of people that are going to suffer from rosacea. So Dr. Almaraya, tell us both from a medical intervention perspective and getting into some self-care tips here, what can people do that are out there right now suffering from rosacea?
Sure. So, kind of some simple things you can do before even reaching the need for medical treatment is, simply be kind to your skin. The first and foremost, we always recommend avoiding direct sunlight. So wearing a hat with a large brim, even like, a 2-inch brim, if you can find, there are many stylish ones out there. It's good for skin cancer prevention, for photo aging, but really critical for rosacea. Wearing sunscreen, ones that don't irritate. Everyone has, a sunscreen they can tolerate, but occasionally there are ones, even if everybody else loves them, their skin, it irritates them. And that's very common with rosacea. So finding a sunscreen that your skin can tolerate. I tend to recommend zinc oxide based and titanium based, so mineral based sunscreens that are a little bit gentler, but really if you have a sunscreen you like, that's better than, necessarily playing around with others. So there are other things we generally recommend, which are, avoiding, large amounts and frequent intake of alcohol, because the alcohol acts as a potent dilator to those vessels, and it'll make you flush a little bit more and make your rosacea more prominent. Trying to avoid spicy foods, if that's another trigger for you. So anything you notice that makes you flush is probably something you would want to avoid when you're trying to control your rosacea. In terms of products that we put on our skin, you want things that obviously hydrate your skin and are gentle so that do not cause irritation. I think you'll hear a little bit more from Veronica and Yang about, trying to control inflammation, but certainly avoid putting alcohol. Some people, if they have acne, they try to use, benzoyl peroxide or alcohol treatments to dry out their skin, but that can actually be pretty caustic to rosacea patients. There are other, when you see a dermatologist, will often recommend topical antibiotics or oral antibiotics because they're both anti-inflammatory as well as antibacterial. We will sometimes recommend products that have, sulfur or other, agents that are anti-inflammatory in general. So that can be helpful. And then there are a whole slew of topical medications as well as oral medications that are geared towards that same purpose of controlling the inflammation. The final thing that some people will have to resort to are medications that topically you can apply them and they actually constrict your blood vessels. So that redness, that flushing, and that broken capillary look will improve over time. And really, some of those will have side effects where when it wears off, you actually flush a little more. So we're cautious about that. But those are all the different, it's a gamut of the options that are out there. I think doing the simple things at home of avoiding sun, avoiding triggers, being good to your skin in general, is very helpful.
So it sounds like there's a whole spectrum, starting with some pretty basic lifestyle interventions before you get, and then of course product interventions that you could buy over the counter before you even have to get into the realm of medical. So Veronica, you're a licensed esthetician. Clearly you're not diagnosing and treating skin diseases. We know
Right.
that, but you're clearly an expert on skin as well as your own skin. So please tell us a little bit about what you found to be effective for rosacea.
A lot of the things that the doctors were speaking about, I mean, sometimes it's trial and error, and some things work for some things work better for others. I've found personally that I think being gentle is, things that it's not just topical, it's internal, it's trying to have a balanced life and relieving some of that stress internally and by exercising and understanding that's really important to have that lifestyle of balance. Water and certain things, triggers that I'd noticed and speaking to others, when asking those kind of questions, when do you notice those types of your skin reacting? And not being a doctor, I can only suggest with my clients and asking them a lot of questions. Well, it's a little bit like when somebody asks a doctor, doctor, it hurts when I do this, and his response is, then stop doing that thing. So it's like my skin I get affected when I drink. It's like, well, then maybe that's the trigger. Then you shouldn't drink. Or if it's coffee or it's spicy food, sometimes it's that balance. Or maybe I've had it in the past and now it doesn't work. It's a little bit, or I get a headache, and it's like, well, that's part of it. Avoiding those certain things. But I think in my personal case, less is more. I like things that are simple, and it doesn't have to be complicated. And in fact, it's a lot easier if it's, and you can do it if it's not like 20 steps. That's what I really liked about the Derma Young products too. Very simple to use, and that it penetrates easily into the skin. And I just, when you find something that works, it's like the story with the lion and the little thorn in his paw. You're just so excited about something that does work. So I've used so many things in the 20 years that I've been an esthetician. So I've done laser, I've done different things, and it helped at a point, and then it just goes right back. The other thing that I've worked with, and I know I wanted to focus just on the Derm Young line, but during COVID, as I've had a little extra time, so I've been doing my new face device. So that seems to have helped microcurrent with it. And somebody was talking about mites on the skin, and I don't know if it helps to it seems like it's helped in conjunction using both things together. And so I start with the exercise, and then I finish with the Derm Young products. And that seems to help. And of course, I'm trying to walk and have that more balanced lifestyle, and of course what we eat, but it's a combination of all those things. So it can be a moving target, but you kind of remember those things in your mind, and oh, this is a good day. So what did I do? Oh, that's right, I drank more water today, or exercised, I had, you know, and if there's been, it's more active. Oh, okay, I can see that that's something I took in yesterday, whether I had a couple more cocktails than I normally do, and now I'm paying the price for it. Some people are more sensitive, and some people have really hardy skin. And I tell myself, and I tell those that have sensitive skin, the good news about having sensitive skin is that your skin responds quickly. And so it'll let you know if it's happy or if it's not happy. So less is more, in my opinion. Using things that are simple, keeping a simple lifestyle, having fun at the same time. Do the 80-20. 80% of the time be good, and consistency is the key, like anything. But you'll have some imbalances at times, or traveling, or COVID, or other things that kind of get us off our stable normal life. But this is, I hope this is not our new normal, but as we go forward, we can kind of look at that and think meditation and that balance. And a lot of, for myself personally, that really helps me. So I hope that helps everybody else on the panel to hear, but it's important to hear the information and the experts. I feel very humbled being in, and I'm honored to be able to speak with all of you today. So I really appreciate it. I'm learning a lot, and some things that I've already have heard, and some things that have worked, and things I've worked with myself. But what I like about the Derm Young product too is that it's topical, because I've done the antibiotics and having the gut issues, and you know, your skin will clear up, but now you've got other issues because of the good bacteria that was taken away with antibiotics. So again, we need antibiotics, but I'm not always excited about using it, because I've had other things that have happened as a result of using. I was on erythromycin for 2.5 years in my 20s, and it seems like my system is very sensitive now to any, and if I can avoid it, I try to be very healthy and try to stay away from the doctors as much as I can with antibiotics.
Yeah, no, that's it sounds both you and Dr. Almaraya have brought up the fact that this is really about balance, and that there can be a bounce back effect when you steer off in any direction. And in doing all these webinars, one of the things that comes up with Derm Young again and again is this idea of healthy skin from the inside out. And so I'm going to ask Dr. Brooks if she can tell us a little bit about why Derm Young is so effective on rosacea.
Right. Thank you, Veronica, for your testimony. So one thing I want to point out is even though Derm Young was able to help Veronica and many other people with rosacea, it's not a medicine. So if you have severe rosacea, we will highly recommend you consult with a dermatologist first. However, as a skincare brand, we would love to help people with rosacea. So the reason Veronica and many other people who find relief is because first, Derm Young products offer very powerful anti-inflammatory functions. Like what I talked about in the first eczema episode. So we are very selective on the antioxidant we put in our bottles, and we tested them on a lot of cytokines. Even though different inflammatory skin diseases have very distinctive cytokine profile, we were able to cover a lot of them. So that's why people with eczema, people with rosacea, and people with acne find relief using our products. And the second, the skin barrier. I mean, I talked about it a lot. So chronic inflammation, no matter from what skin diseases, will really impair your skin barrier. And then, you know, skin barrier, leaky, whatever, create a self-perpetuating vicious cycle. So Derm Young products really help to rebuild your skin barrier from inside out. So we activate the cells to synthesize all those proteins, those lipids not just like many other products, put a layer of ceramide cholesterol on your skin. We really rebuild this barrier. By doing so, we are able to stop a lot of inflammation from inside and outside. So that's why I would say anti-inflammatory, rebuild your resilient skin barrier are the keys that Dermyoung products can provide to rosacea sufferers and also other chronic inflammatory skin disease sufferers.
So that makes sense why it's good for so many different conditions because of these fundamental processes of being anti-inflammatory and then building the epidermal layer. You guys are the experts, but I was wondering if I could ask Dr. Elmarai if she has any final words as a medical expert on this topic.
You know, I think rosacea is a very common condition. Many people experience it after, from their 20s onward, and it will fluctuate throughout your life. So taking those steps that both Veronica and Young have discussed, simply towards caring for yourself and caring for your skin, as we said, regulating your diet, your water intake, exercise, those are all things that are very helpful in controlling your skin in general, whether it's rosacea, which is, again, a very stress sensitive condition, but taking the necessary steps, seeing a dermatologist if you feel like it is affecting your daily experience, and again, I can't underscore enough that caring for your skin really goes a long way, and that always includes sun protection. So don't forget that. And I just encourage everyone, rosacea, while it's a broad range of experiences and symptoms, there are many different treatment options on hand, whether they are, clinical or before you get to the clinical stage. And I just encourage everyone to, always stay hopeful with rosacea, because if you give up, that's when it gets you. so definitely try, to find what works for your skin and just listen to yourself and your body, like Veronica said.
That's important.
Veronica, any final words for us?
I just learned so much today. Thank you, ladies. And it just helps to reinforce everything that we, behind the scenes and working with my clients, and I'm sure working with your patients and working with products. We all are here because we care and we all want to make a difference. And I'm just really happy to help. And if there's anything I can do in the future, please let me know.
That's beautiful. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of happy people out there as you guys open up and get to work on people's faces and make them look beautiful. Dr. Brooks, any final words?
Yes, I just want to chime in and say happy life, take care of your skin first. And if you are suffering from rosacea and want to ramp up your skincare game, give Dermyoung a try. You will be surprised.
www.dermyoung.com, y'all. You can visit the site and help yourself to some amazing products. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Take